Hello and welcome to The Frame. We begin this week by resuming our coverage on the process of developing the Framingham Public Schools budget for the 2027 fiscal year, as local officials continue discussions leading up to next Wednesday, March 4th, which is the date that the Framingham School Committee is set to vote on their final budget request to Mayor Charlie Sisitsky. Local leaders are currently working to bridge a nearly $6 million gap to get the school budget request down to the roughly $190 million target that's been established based on financial projections. It's a process that could result in dozens of layoffs across the school district. Earlier this month, though, school committee members voted to restore 13.4 full-time salaries worth over $900,000 in their final budget request, including staff for ESL, chorus, theater, and health programs. On Tuesday, February 24th, city councilors and school committee members met to continue these talks, as the city's COO, Michael Tessino, advised that FY27 revenue projections currently stand at about $382.5 million, just shy of what the FY26 municipal operating budget was approved at. District 6 City Council member Phil Ottaviani urged leaders to collaborate in spite of economic uncertainties within Framingham, as local legislators warned of the risks of using free cash funding and advised against deficit spending.
The bottom line is there's only so much money we have. We're equal partners in government, but we need to be on the same page, and I don't think we're on the same page right now.
With that guidance in mind, the school committee met on Wednesday, February 25th, to continue the wider discussion. FPS Executive Director of Finance and Operations Lincoln Lynch noted that public school enrollment in the city is now down by 720 students since the beginning of October 2024, a massive factor in the latest round of 84 proposed salary eliminations worth nearly $5 million. 59 of those cuts consist of either known retirements, currently vacant jobs, or roles where the employee would have a job elsewhere within the district. FPS Superintendent Dr. Robert Tremblay said these proposals were developed after prolonged analysis and discussions with directors and principals in Framingham, as education leaders look to preserve student opportunities.
All that being said, we know there's going to be impact. We don't want to cut any positions, but the math doesn't add up.
The school committee did vote this week to move forward with 30 of those salary eliminations worth about $1.6 million across the district's schools, central office, and buildings and grounds teams. Once again, the school committee's final vote on their budget request is set for next Wednesday, March 4th. In the meantime, members of the group have requested additional information on the process of how certain proposals were drafted and the impact those decisions may have on local students. Elsewhere on the topic of the FY27 municipal budget, the proposed figures to fund the local police and health departments were outlined to the City Council's Finance Subcommittee last Thursday, the 19th. Police Chief Lester Baker told local legislators their pitch is for $24.2 million for the upcoming fiscal year. If approved, that would be a nearly 13% rise over the FY26 police budget figure. A significant driver of the increased budget request, according to Baker, is for personnel and staffing matters, as FPD is seeking additional help across the department.
Right now, our current staffing is 138. According to the FBI data and the amount of police officers we should have per resident, the police department should be at 176. I tried to encompass a plan that would do 7 officers per year over 5 years.
As for the health department, Director Bill Murphy outlined the team's request of about $1.3 million, a roughly $66,000 raise compared to last year. He explained that the increase would fund a new medical assistant while also maintaining support for per diem nurses. A reminder that the 2027 fiscal budget in Framingham will be proposed to city councilors by Mayor Sisitsky in the coming months, as local legislators are set to make their final approvals or rejections in May. Meanwhile, the latest concepts for a residential development by the corner of Edmands-Edgell roads in Nobscot was outlined to the City Council's Planning and Zoning Subcommittee last Wednesday, February 18th. For months, Waltham-based development group J&Co has worked on a plan that could result in the creation of 415 units across 30 acres in the neighborhood. If approved, both ownership and rental opportunities would be offered through townhomes and multifamily dwellings. However, Nobscot rezoning or development plans have received plenty of feedback from both local residents and officials alike in recent years, comments that were echoed once again during last week's meeting. Stakeholders have worried about factors such as zoning and population density within the neighborhood, the area's character as well, alongside possible noise and traffic trouble, and the potential added strain on municipal infrastructure and services. J&Co's outside legal counsel Jeffrey Roloff said that feedback has been taken into account during their concepts development, though City Councilor Mary Kate Feeney, whose district includes the Edmands-Edgell parcel in question, echoed similar concerns, adding her belief that over 400 units being added to the area is too much of an ask.
We're tuning into these, and these are going to drive the parameters that we're going to be looking to impose within the zoning provisions, and ultimately would come into play with respect to any special permit process and conditions and limitations imposed there.
I think the most important thing is that Nobscot is a village. It's supposed to be a walkable village. It is supposed to be one with open space. It is supposed to connect. There are plans that have been set out. We need to follow the spirit of those plans as closely as possible.
Both local legislators as well as J&Co have expressed a desire to keep these community meetings going throughout the process, especially before developers formally submit any proposals to alter Nobscot's zoning. More details on that story, along with all of the top stories we cover each week on the show, can be found at www.theframe.news, your online home for Framingham News in Focus. There, we've got full written articles, feature pieces completed across the city, and a calendar filled with upcoming local events. Be sure that you're subscribed to our email newsletter, too, so that you're always in touch with our community journalism coverage. Just as the snow from the previous blizzard was beginning to melt, Framingham and the rest of the region was hit with yet another storm this week. Data from the National Weather Service shows that Monday's storm brought about a foot of snow to Framingham. Due to this most recent storm and the pair of snow days for local students it resulted in, Framingham Public Schools has announced that the last day of classes in the city has been pushed back. It's now scheduled for Thursday, June 25th. This week's blizzard came just days after the City Council voted on February 17th to unanimously approve a $1 million transfer from the local free cash fund into the municipal snow and ice budget. As of the end of January, in the wake of the first major storm this year that brought nearly 20 inches of accumulation to parts of Framingham, the city had spent close to $1.5 million on snow and ice. That one major blizzard in January alone cost about $750,000 for reference. Local high school sports teams are taking part in the MIAA's state basketball and hockey tournaments, which got underway this week. Unfortunately, the Framingham High School girls hockey team fell to St. Mary's by a score of 5-1 on Wednesday in the Division I tournament. Keefe Tech's boys basketball team also met the same fate in the preliminary round of the Division V basketball tournament. They were defeated 57-53 by Collegiate Charter. Keefe Tech's girls basketball team is moving on in the D5 bracket, though. They were victorious over EMK Academy with a 33-22 final score there. They're moving on to face Granby on Friday. As for Framingham High School's boys hockey team, the number 13 seed in Division I, they have not yet played as of the time of this taping. They're taking on Lincoln Sudbury in their first postseason game this Thursday night. We wish them good luck in their tournament run, and we want to congratulate all local athletes on their success this winter season. And finally this week, a preview of our frame-by-frame segment as we previewed the latest installment of AFTV Tries It, our program that features our team members visiting the places that make Framingham a unique place to live, work, and play. This month, a spotlight on the award-winning downtown restaurant Fresscafe. It's a place featuring coffee and food that blends American favorites with an international twist.
All right. This will be the tuna supreme melt.
We're a community who sells food.
Over here, we have our kitchen. Omelets, French toast, sandwiches, everything is made by order. This is Carla, our amazing chef. Right now, she's preparing omelets, she's making French toast, she's doing a big order.
When you have food, people, they relax. Around the table, they talk about things, about good things, about bad things. And it's something that brings people together. You know, some people, they do around wine, and we do coffee.
So this is our guava latte, is our house signature drink. As always, for all of our drinks, we have the set recipes. It's not like we just add syrup to it. So this will be guava and milk syrup, which is kind of like our secret to make the smoothest tasting coffees. We're gonna steam the milk.
As always, more frame-by-frame coverage is available on our social media accounts. Follow us on Instagram at @FrameNews_ and search for The Frame on Facebook. Subscribe to access Framingham's YouTube channel as well, and hit the bell icon to get a notification whenever we upload new content. You can also watch or listen to full episodes of our news program by following us on Spotify. That's all for this week's Framingham News in Focus. On behalf of the entire team here at The Frame, thank you for tuning in. My name is Brendan Fitzpatrick. We'll talk to you next week. Take care.